Once upon a time, there lived a husband and wife who had longed for a child for many years. Finally, their prayers were answered, and the wife discovered she was expecting a baby. Their small cottage had a window that overlooked a magnificent garden filled with the most beautiful flowers and vegetables. But this garden belonged to a powerful enchantress who was feared by everyone in the land. High walls surrounded the garden, and no one dared to enter it. One day, the wife was looking out the window when she noticed a patch of the most delicious-looking Rapunzel plants growing in the garden below. The leafy greens looked so fresh and appetizing that she began to crave them desperately.
I must have some of that Rapunzel, or I fear I shall.
Day after day, her craving grew stronger. She stopped eating other food and grew pale and weak. Her husband, seeing how ill she had become, grew terribly worried.
My dear, you're wasting away. What can I do to help you?
Please, I beg you, bring me some of that Rapunzel from the garden next door. It's the only thing I desire.
The husband loved his wife dearly and couldn't bear to see her suffering. That evening, when darkness fell, he climbed over the high wall into the enchantress's garden. Moving quickly and quietly, he grabbed a handful of Rapunzel and hurried back home. His wife was overjoyed. She made a salad immediately and ate it with great satisfaction. But the taste was so wonderful that her craving became 3 times stronger than before.
Please, my love, I need more. Just one more time.
The husband had no choice. The next evening, he climbed over the wall again. But just as he gathered the Rapunzel, a shadow fell over him. He looked up to see the enchantress standing there, her eyes blazing with anger.
How dare you sneak into my garden like a thief and steal my Rapunzel? You will pay dearly for this.
Please forgive me. I did it for my wife, and she is pregnant. And she craved it so desperately that she would have died if I hadn't brought her some.
The enchantress's anger began to fade slightly as she listened.
If what you say is true, then I will allow you to take as much Rapunzel as you wish, but on one condition.
When your child is born, you must give her to me.
I will care for her like a mother, and she will want for nothing.
The terrified husband agreed to the enchantress's terms.
Our little miracle.
When the wife gave birth to a beautiful baby girl,
I love you both so much.
the enchantress appeared immediately to claim her prize.
You made a promise, and now you must keep it. Forgive me.
The heartbroken parents had no choice but to hand over their daughter.
Please don't take him away.
The enchantress named the child Rapunzel, after the plant that had caused all the trouble. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child anyone had ever seen. Her hair was magnificent, long and red like spun fire, and it grew longer with each passing year. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress decided to lock her away from the world and imprisoned her in a tall tower that had no stairs and no door, only a single small window at the very top. The tower stood alone in the wilderness, surrounded by trees, with no other buildings in sight. Whenever the enchantress wanted to visit, she would stand at the base of the tower and call out,
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let down your hair!
Rapunzel would then unfasten her long braids and wind them around a hook beside the window. She would drop her hair down the side of the tower, and it would fall to the ground. The enchantress would climb up using the hair like a rope. Years passed, and Rapunzel grew into a lovely young woman. She spent her days alone in the tower, singing to pass the time. She had no company except for the enchantress, who visited regularly but was not affectionate. Rapunzel didn't know anything about the world beyond her tower. She didn't know about villages or cities, about princes or paupers, about freedom or choice. One day, a young prince was riding through the forest. As he guided his horse through the trees, he heard the most enchanting voice he had ever encountered. The prince followed the sound until he came upon the tall tower. He looked up and saw the small window at the top, but he could see no door, no stairs, no way to enter.
How strange. A tower with no entrance.
He sat down beneath a tree to listen to the beautiful singing. The voice filled him with such longing and curiosity that he couldn't bring himself to leave. He returned to the tower every day, hiding among the trees, just to hear the mysterious singer. One evening, as the prince sat listening, he saw the enchantress approach the tower. He quickly hid behind a large oak tree and watched. He heard her call out those strange words, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The prince watched in amazement as an incredible length of hair came tumbling down from the window. He saw the enchantress climb up the hair like a ladder and disappear through the window.
So that's the way up. If that's the ladder, then I too can try my fortune.
The next evening, when he was certain the enchantress had left, the prince approached the tower. His heart was pounding with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He called out, trying to imitate the enchantress's voice, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Immediately, the hair came falling down and the prince climbed up. When he reached the window and climbed inside, Rapunzel was terribly frightened at first. She had never seen a man before, and certainly not such a handsome young one.
Please don't be afraid. And I heard your beautiful singing and couldn't stay away. I mean you no harm.
Who are you?
I am a prince from the kingdom beyond this forest. But please, tell me about yourself. How did you come to be in this tower?
The prince told Rapunzel about the world outside, about kingdoms and villages, about families and freedom. Rapunzel listened with wonder, her eyes growing wide at each new revelation. As the moon rose high in the sky, the prince knew he had to leave before the enchantress returned.
May I visit you again tomorrow?
Yes, please come back. But you must leave before evening, for that is when the enchantress visits me.
I will come every afternoon, if you'll allow it.
From that day forward, the prince came to visit Rapunzel every afternoon. He climbed up her hair and spent hours with her, telling her stories of the outside world and listening to her sing. With each visit, their friendship deepened into something more. Rapunzel and the prince fell deeply in love. He taught her more about the world beyond the tower, and she sang for him. One day the prince asked her the question that had been in his heart for weeks.
I love you with all my heart. Will you marry me and leave this tower?
I love you too. But how can I escape? The tower is so high, and I have no way to climb down.
Each time I visit, I'll bring you a skein of silk thread. You can weave it into a ladder.
When it's long enough, you can climb down, and I'll take you away on my horse.
So every day the prince brought silk, and every night after the enchantress left, Rapunzel worked on her ladder, hiding it carefully. But one afternoon, Rapunzel made a terrible mistake. Without thinking, she said to the enchantress,
Tell me, Mother Gothel, why are you so much heavier to pull up than the prince? He reaches the top in just a moment.
What did you say? You wicked, ungrateful child! I thought I had hidden you from the entire world, and yet you have betrayed me!
In her rage, the enchantress seized Rapunzel's hair, grabbed a pair of scissors, and cut off the braids. The lovely hair fell to the floor.
Please don't.
Rapunzel cried, but the
Please
enchantress
don't.
showed no mercy. She used her dark magic to transport Rapunzel far away to a desolate wilderness, a place of sand and thorns where she would have to live in misery and suffering, alone and abandoned. The enchantress returned to the tower with Rapunzel's severed braids. She fastened them to the window hook and waited, her heart full of vengeance. That evening, the prince came as usual. He stood at the base of the tower and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The enchantress let down the braids, and the prince climbed up eagerly, expecting to find his beloved. But when he reached the window instead of Rapunzel, and he found the enchantress staring at him with cruel, mocking eyes.
Aha! You've come for your precious bird, but the cat has caught her.
Rapunzel is lost to you forever. You will never see her again.
The prince was overcome with despair and grief. In his anguish, he threw himself from the tower window. He survived the fall, but he landed in a thicket of thorns below. The sharp thorns pierced his eyes, blinding him completely. Helpless and in terrible pain, the prince wandered away from the tower. He stumbled through the forest, blind and heartbroken, weeping constantly for the loss of his beloved Rapunzel.
Meanwhile, in the barren wilderness where the enchantress had abandoned her, Rapunzel survived alone. And as time passed, she gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, born from her love for the prince. She raised her children in that desolate place, singing to them the songs she had once sung in the tower. She told them stories about their father, the brave prince who had climbed her hair to visit her. One day, as Rapunzel was singing while her children played nearby, a figure stumbled through the desert toward them. It was a blind man, ragged and thin, his clothes torn and his face weathered by years of wandering. The man stopped suddenly when he heard the singing. He knew that voice. He had heard it in his dreams every night for years. His heart began to pound.
Rapunzel? Is it you?
Rapunzel recognized the voice immediately, even though it was weak and hoarse.
My prince!
She ran to him, and when she reached him, she threw her arms around his neck. She wept with joy, and two of her tears fell upon his eyes. In that moment, something miraculous happened. The tears possessed healing power, and suddenly the prince could see again.
You can see? Oh, thank heaven.
The prince looked at Rapunzel, seeing her face for the first time in years. She was more beautiful to him than ever, though marked by hardship. Then he saw the two children watching them with curious eyes.
These are our children, a son and a daughter.
The prince knelt down and embraced his family, weeping with happiness. After so much suffering and separation, they were finally together again.
Come to my kingdom. My parents believed I was dead.
When they see me returned with you and our children, there will be great rejoicing.
The prince led Rapunzel and their children out of the wilderness. The journey was long, but they traveled together as a family, helping each other through the difficult terrain. Finally, they reached the prince's kingdom. When they arrived at the palace, there was indeed tremendous joy. The king and queen, who had mourned their son as dead, wept with happiness to see him alive and well. They welcomed Rapunzel with open arms, embracing her as a daughter.
You have brought our son back to us, and you are a blessing to our family.
A magnificent wedding was held, even grander than the first one they had planned. Rapunzel finally found the freedom and happiness she had always deserved. The enchantress was never seen again. Some said she disappeared in shame when her cruelty was revealed. Others believed her own dark magic had consumed her, but no one truly cared what had become of her. Rapunzel and the prince ruled the kingdom with wisdom and compassion. They never forgot the suffering they had endured, and they used those memories to govern with kindness, always helping those who were imprisoned, lost, or abandoned.
Do not despair. Spring is coming.